Okay, so I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, since I made the introductory one, which is, I'll try and put a link to here. I wanted to talk as briefly as I can about a thing called a Subject Access Request. And this is under the Data Protection Act 2018. And this is one of your best friends. Tactically speaking, one of your best friends in terms of winning your war against utility companies and debt collectors who are pursuing you unfairly. I don't know if I mentioned in the previous video, but I'll mention it again here, and I'm not moralizing. I'm just saying, tactically, I think if you owe the money, pay the money. If it's fairly incurred, pay it. Not necessarily for moral reasons. You can say, okay, it's moral to pay for what you've had, but there's another reason too. It's a huge waste of your energy getting into a war like this with these companies, unless you are correct. If you have limited faith in the justness of your cause, it will be difficult for you to fight, because you will need some courage and you'll need stamina. And those things are much easier to come by if you're sure that you're right. Somebody else, Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, about the secrets to the art of war, how to win, and he said, you should just be sure you're right. That's it. And in my experience, that's true. And so Subject Access Request under the Data Protection Act. How do you do it? You as soon as you get into a dispute that begins to become a bit involved, you write to the data protection officer of the company. The email address is usually DPO at whatever the company is. They are somewhat independent from the company, because they're obliged by the Data Protection Act to provide you with information that may or may not be in the company's interests. But as soon as you ask for it, they have to provide it. They have to provide it within 28 days. And this is one of the things that makes it and there are articles on the internet, I'll try and post some, which tell you that data protection officers hate subject access requests. The name of the thing is not very eloquent, but it basically means a dump of all your data, all of it. So let's say you've been a customer for, I don't know, even 5 years. There may be a limit on the size of the data, but let's say you've been a customer for a year. They definitely have to give you that. In fact, they have to give you all the data, I think. In my case, I was a customer for, let's say, a year, 2 years, something like this, and they had to provide me all of my data when I requested it. They've got 28 days. If they have a good reason, or if the data is large, they can request an extension of another 28 days. But all the companies that I have dealt with that way have been fairly strict with adhering to the deadlines. Whether they are afraid of the Information Commissioner's Office who enforces this, I'm not sure. I've heard different things about how much teeth the Information Commissioner's Office has. And at the moment, during the pandemic, they are apparently not even doing much work at all. So you may find that if you do a subject access request now, the companies may be a bit more lax. But if they violated the rule, just because the Information Commissioner isn't enforcing it now, even if they do, it takes them months. I made a complaint to them, and their response was not so impressive, and it took months. And that was before the pandemic. But it's not the point. The point is, you want to keep pressure on these people, the company that's giving you a problem. And this is a fantastic, easy way to do it. It doesn't cost you a penny. It used to cost, I think, £10 and something, and now it doesn't cost anything. And they hate it when you do this to them. because you're giving them a huge amount of work to do, you're costing them a huge number of personnel hours, and this may begin to persuade them, depending on how much that you owe them or they say you owe them. They're already losing, that sum is already reducing by the amount of work you're giving, administrative work you are giving them by making this request. As to how to make the request, there's a lot of information online. I'd like to keep this video as short as I can, so I'm just really talking about the tactical aspects of it. So, subject access request. Yeah, there was one other thing. What was it now? Subject access request. Yeah, no. So you then, yeah. The other thing is that because they have to redact the names of other people, it takes them, it's a manual task and it takes them forever. So the last thing I wanted to say is, when I looked this up online, I didn't find much information, but yes, you can do it to a debt collector. You can do it to a debt collector. I did it to an outrageous debt collector who tried to break into my house and assaulted me in the process. That's a subject of another video because that has to do with entry warrants. Warrants that utility companies can apply for to break into your premises. They're very often abused. But in any case, any debt collector at all, you can subject access request them. And they have to provide you with a copy of your data. They may refer you back to the company because there's a distinction between data controller and data processor. So they may refer you back to the company that instructed them. So if it's British Gas gives your case to Moorcroft Debt Collector, you subject access request Moorcroft Debt Collector. They may say that we'd refer you back to British Gas because they're the controller of your data. But they refer you back there, I think, for permission. But the information provided to you is provided by the debt collector. So do this. Very easy for you to do. Free for you. Very time consuming and very annoying for your enemy. Until next time.